Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda.
We're the Village's Newcomers. A topic of most importance today. It's on the mind of a lot of our viewers. How much money do I need to retire? It's a very general question and spread over a whole lot of circumstances, but we're going to do our best to answer it for you today. Our entire married life, we've tried to live within our means and set money aside for the future. And that's what's enabled us in retirement to come down here to Florida, and we're having a ball.
We are.
We realize everybody's circumstances are different, and your numbers and your situation is going to be different, but we're going to go into some of those factors today. We are thrilled to be in the office of a financial advisor. We call him friend. You've seen him in some of our videos, Mr. Greg Panjian.
Thank you very much for having me, Jerry and Linda. I hope I can help some of your viewers, help them figure it out, but you did the right thing. You set some money aside while you were working, and that's what everybody should be doing, of course, because most of the people that are watching your show are already retired, or they're almost about to, right? So it's important to start early, like you did.
We had the good fortune to retire at 55, although if you know us, and I know a lot of you pay attention to what we do, we've never truly retired. We had other things that we did and liked to do. We didn't do them necessarily for the money, but because we wanted to stay active and busy. Are people today retiring at 55, or most people waiting till 65? What have you found in your experience?
Well, here in the villages, as you know, everybody has retired pretty much, but I have a lot of people that still work, and I have had a few people in their 50s that are clients, but most people are, have started their retirement years, and if they work, it may be just for something to do and keep busy and socially to work.
We all want the good life.
Yeah.
How do we know when we have enough money set aside that we can stop work and enjoy the good life?
Well, you can't do it by yourself. You really should have a financial advisor early on that will help you plan it. I'm certainly helping people that have already retired. So you should start with a financial advisor as soon as possible in your working career.
Well, today, our information that we gain from you is just meant as a suggestion and kind of to get the ball rolling for people, especially those that are thinking about it. We get letters from 30-year-olds, don't we?
We do. We can't believe it.
We have a lot of young people that have, for one reason or another, they like our show and they watch and they just hope that they can get on the right track. So maybe the things we say today can help them do so. One biggie, some people, when they retire, still have a mortgage payment, and some people do not. We get the question all the time, is it too expensive to live in the villages? By far down here, I think the biggest expense is your home. If your home is paid off, is the villages really much different than any other place to live in retirement?
Well, if you have your house paid off by the time you move here, you're in great shape, great shape. There are some people that though still have a mortgage, and they make ends they make ends meet. If you certainly have it paid off, you've got more money to spend for entertainment and dining out and so on.
The big question comes up here, it's so expensive. And it is expensive, but I think it's expensive everywhere right now.
Sure is, yeah.
So we went through what is expensive here that would not be expensive in Connecticut or Massachusetts, where you're from, or Indiana, where we are from. And here you've got a bond on your homes, which many people never pay off. And you've got district fees. We hope this information that we get from you is good for people everywhere. But especially we want to give good information to people that are looking to move to Florida or the villages. What would you say would be some of the costs here that you wouldn't find in Connecticut or Rhode Island or Indiana or Tennessee or Massachusetts?
Well, I moved from Connecticut, and I certainly had property taxes. I had taxes on my car. I had state income taxes. Two of those things were eliminated when I moved to Florida. So that's the taxes are going to be a big thing. The bond, as you know, most people don't pay it off and they just pay it as part of their property tax. Amenities fee, for what that amenity gives you, it's the biggest bargain here, I think.
We have friends from all walks of life, and yet we get letters almost every day from people that assume that everyone that lives here is rich.
No, that's
But
not
I guess the point we're trying to get across is living here is not that much different. Now, honestly, inside the bubble, your food might be a little higher, but not enough to throw a kink in the works that you can't come down and retire.
Well, as you know, the homes here range from a couple $100,000 to up to now $2 million. And I think the founder wanted everybody to live like a millionaire, right? Isn't that his motto? So I think you can live here even if you're not a millionaire. I know you can.
What I think is neat is that you can have that kind of home in every village. Every village has $200,000 home, $2 million homes everywhere.
Right,
So you're not
true.
exclusive. Oh, this is a poor section. This is
Right,
a higher
yeah.
section. No,
Yeah.
it's all over.
That's true. Yeah. And they golf side by side, and they play cards side by side. I mean, this really is Disneyland for adults, to use that phrase.
Now, we don't want this to be a commercial for the villages. It's not for everybody. And we don't want it to be a commercial for you. It could be a commercial for us. But our neighbors are a policeman, a truck driver, a chemical engineer, fireman, a bookbinder,
Yeah.
teachers. How will they know? Is there a checklist or some kind of a program that they can put their earnings, their savings, their potential bills into to find out, are you going to be able to make it?
Well, that's what I do. That's what I help people do, figure it out. We have what's called a 5-step process. And the first step is what you're talking about. Where am I today? So I help clients. We gather all their information, what their assets are, what income sources they have, Social Security, pensions, annuities. We gather all this information and we use our Edward Jones program to project. And we project out to age 90, or we can go further if the client wants to. We factor in inflation, we factor in the return that they're going to get, whether it's going to be CD interest or equity interest or a combination of both. But that's really the only way to figure it out. You can't really, I don't think, do it yourself. You need a financial advisor to do it.
We talked to a fellow the other day, and I asked him, he was talking about retiring, and I said, how much money do you figure that you need to save to retire? And he said, $500,000. And he followed that up by saying, $500,000 is not what it used to be.
No, that's for sure.
And that's absolutely true. So we can't put a number on it because we don't know if you're going to have a mortgage.
Right.
Or we don't know if you're still working. You don't know if you have an income. But you have to take your Social Security, any pensions, and your savings. How long does the average person live these days?
So that's a good question, Jerry. We use a calculation that we're going to assume that one of the spouses is going to live to age 90. So that's what we have to do. And that's, as you know, people are living longer, so you have to use that calculation. And we have situations where second marriages, maybe and it's usually the higher earner has the pension, and it could be that when he or she passes away, the remaining spouse doesn't have anything. But we figure that all out to what if scenarios. So that's why I say you really need to work with me or someone like me to figure it out.
The thing is your lifestyle. Are you going to travel? Vacations are expensive.
Absolutely.
Do you have pet causes that you want to fund?
Or pets.
Yeah, or pets, or do you have children that that you're still taking care of, or
Right.
heaven forbid, grandchildren that you're taking care of?
Yeah.
Right.
And so everybody's in a different boat. So a show like this is really hard to do. We did a show, I don't know if you saw it, about a year ago, calculating how much money we needed to live in the villages. And it worked out for us. And, you know, I think that's a good one to go back to, and we will put a link in the description of the video so people that want to see that on the amount of assets that we had versus the amount of bills, and go from there. But so many factors go into that decision. With your experience of living in the villages for quite a while, do you feel like it's a good place to live?
I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I mean, when I had the opportunity to relocate here from my Edward Jones office in Connecticut, I grabbed it, and I have no plans to retire. I feel like I'm semi-retired because I'm in a retirement community, and because I do work, I don't participate in as many activities as you two do, but I have a lot of activities that I like doing.
If you're in your 30s or 40s, what should your priorities be looking forward?
You know, that's a good question. I was thinking about that earlier, and I remember I was helping a new advisor start up in Connecticut, and he had a new a single parent that he was helping, and his recommendation was that she should put some money into an IRA. And I said, I don't think so. I think she should buy a life insurance policy, because if something should happen to her, you know, she needs to take care of that child, you know. So it all depends on your situation. You know, it may not be the best thing to do is to put money away from your retirement in your 20s if you're a single parent. You have to protect your family if you don't make it home one day. So that's why there's so many things to consider. But if you're fortunate enough to have a 401k, and even more fortunate to have the company give you some free money, if you matching money, you should definitely max that out, and because that will help you way down the road.
Okay, so in your 30s, 40s, maximize your retirement savings when you can.
Yeah.
Take advantage of any matching contributions.
Yeah.
Live within your means.
Right.
Sock it away. Okay, now here's where we were at age 50, and some of you are in the same place. You don't want to invest willy-nilly.
No.
Because you've got 5 or 6 years to retirement. You want to be conservative. What advice would you give to a 50-year-old that maybe has their home paid off or is about to pay it off? What are some steps they can take?
Well, like you said, you don't want to invest willy-nilly, right? So when I work with clients, one of the first things we do after we've gathered all the information about their assets and so on, and expenses, we want to see what their risk tolerance for risk is, and because we know that some people's risk is very low, some people's very high, so we want to invest their investments to match their risk, so that they can sleep at night and still feel like they're doing the right thing. So that's very important, to balance their investments with their risk that they can handle.
Now in our mid-60s, and the economy's in the tank,
Yeah.
there aren't really great investments out there. So we've become very conservative, because we don't want to lose. I'm not sure that our investments are even keeping up with the cost of living. So what do people do at that stage?
Good question, Jerry. As we do this show, the S&P's down about 20%, the Nasdaq's down close to 30%. It is a good time to put some money in the market if you have some available, because history has shown that every single time the market's down this kind of percentage, it's a great time to invest some money. But you really can't be trying to go in the market, out of the market. What ends up happening is people end up buying when the market's high and selling when it's low, and they're doing exact opposite to what we want to do. You know, so the best thing to do is work with your financial advisor, pick a portfolio that has a certain amount of stocks and a certain amount of fixed income, and stick through it through thick and thin, and take out, as you live in retirement, you want to withdraw a safe amount, and that safe amount is a percentage based on your age, and stick to that amount and give yourself a little raise every year to cover rising prices. But you really do need a financial advisor to help you, guide you, hold your hands during this time. I'm certainly doing a lot of that right now.
Well, I know that nothing makes you feel better than when your clients succeed. And not because you make money when they make money, because their quality of life goes up and you like that. Right. And we appreciate that about you. When you're in your 70s, early 70s, you have to start the mandatory withdrawals.
Right.
Can you explain that, how that works just a little bit, and how that might affect people? It'll actually give you more money to spend, but you're taking that out of your security.
Right. So, as you know, the way 401ks and IRAs work is the government gave you a big tax advantage while you were saving that money, and it's not taxed while it's in that retirement account. But they do eventually want to receive their taxes. So it's really the first year you're in 72, it's only about 3.6% of the account value. But every custodian, whether it's your 401k custodian or your IRA custodian like Edward Jones, we report that balance on December 31st to the IRS. So they know how much your retirement balances are.
Why do you have to do that?
Because that's the way it works.
What if we don't want them to know?
Talk to your congressman. but no, and then we know exactly in 1st of January what your RMD, or required minimum distribution, is, and that has to come out sometime during the year. So if the market's up that year, your RMD might be a little high. It'll be higher even if the account balance stayed the same, because every year they ratchet it up a little bit higher percentage.
Of course they do. Now, if you had $1 million in your 401k,
Yeah.
you have to withdraw roughly $36,000,
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
and that's
The
what they
first
would,
year, that's 72.
and that's what they would tax.
Yeah.
The
You
36.
add it to your taxable income. Now, you may not owe any tax on it. It depends on if you're married, what tax rate you're in, what deductions you have. You may not even owe any taxes on it. So it all depends on your other income.
All right, I told you this before. I'm a terrible investor. Don't ask me for investing advice. What's the best investment you ever made?
The house I bought in the Villages.
There you go.
The homes I have bought in the Villages.
We know the cost, and I wouldn't say value necessarily, but the perceived value of homes here is incredible right now.
It is.
And they've gone up quite a bit. That's how we got here. We bought a farm back in 1991, and we held on to it for 26 years.
That's always amazed me, that you owned a farm that you didn't even live on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was a little piece of paradise, and it was
Yeah.
woods, and there were deer, and I had a big lake on it. And it was a great place, and honestly, I wish I had it here. I would.
So was there a crop on this farm?
We leased it out for hay,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and we actually had 30 cows at one time
Yeah.
of our own, and a couple of horses.
I bet you had some nice barbecues.
Yeah, we did, and we had, every once in a while we'd have a goat or something like that. So we had a good time. It was a phase. We're through it, and our boys moved away, and I had to cut all the grass and chop up all the trees and fix all the fence and maintain the road, and it's got to be too much. I wish we still had it, but we've moved on, and I don't regret it one bit. Okay, final tidbits. Any last bit of advice for people that wonder, do I have enough money to retire?
The only way to figure it out is to gather all your information, sit down with a financial advisor, and help them figure it out with you.
Well, Greg, we want to thank you for being with us today. We know there are many people here in the Villages that call Greg friend, and he's a loyal and trusted advisor to us, and we hope everybody has someone like him that they can go to. We know we didn't answer all your questions today, There are so many more things you probably want to know. Just encourage you to find out before it's too late. You can't start planning for retirement when you're 60.
Yeah.
You have to start planning earlier. And that's what we did, and we're so happy that we did.
Jerry and Linda, thanks for this opportunity to share my information with your viewers. I love working with people and helping them figure it out, because everybody needs some kind of help, and don't try to do it yourself. Ask for some professional help, especially as we get older. I'm having it seems like I have a lot of recent widows. The men do tend to die earlier, and then they leave behind a spouse that needs assistance, because usually the husband was handling their finances, and it's good to be able to work with people when they need it the most, and that's when they really need it the most. In addition to preparing for retirement, living in retirement and living your life after a loved one has passed, you need some assistance.
It's amazing to me, and you have a lot of these friends,
Yes.
that either move here as a single lady or stay here after their spouse dies.
Right, yeah.
And that's just a huge and brave thing to do in my book.
If you liked our video today, please press that like and subscribe button and share it with your friends. Until next time.
See you when you get here.